recording on कर देते हैं. चलें. So let's begin now. Last class, as I said, we discussed about PHP introduction and how we can install server. PHP, let me refresh it, rephrase it. PHP is basically known as a server-side programming language. Before that, we had talked about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML basically is a simple scripting language that works on a client's PC, that executes or interprets directly on the browser and generates the output. So whenever basically we work with HTML or CSS or JavaScript, they are basically a scripting languages that work at a client's. All the source code actually sent to the client's browser, and at runtime the client's browser reads the source code and generates the output for HTML, CSS, and PHP. That is why they are also known as client-side languages, meaning that all the decision, all the data, all the content with the source code is done at the client's PC. Client means the user. Okay. The disadvantage of that being that every user in the world will now be able to see exactly same website. Whenever we talk about a client-side website or a single HTML website, they are known as static websites. Word static. Static means a website that is static, same, constant for every single user in the world. No matter who you are, every user in the world, when they access that particular website, they will see exactly the same content. For example, this page here, the Apache server, I will talk about this later, but if you access it, I believe this is a static and every single user will see exactly same options in the world. It's a static website. For example, you visit a University of Sindh website, you would find that website is static. Most university websites, homepages are all static. By static meaning the content are exactly same on every single web page for every single user. Okay, because they primarily are based on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. When we talk about PHP, we say PHP is a server-side language. By that we mean it is a language that runs not on a client PC but at the back end. At the back end means at the server. PHP is a language which executes at a server. HTML, CSS, JavaScript is something that executes on a client's PC. PHP is known as a language that allows us to have a dynamic programming features or a dynamic website features. Sorry. By dynamic website means that based on user, the content of your website will change. So whoever the user is, based on that user, the website content will change. That is why they are known as dynamic websites. Dynamic means decision is made on the server that what data is to be displayed to user 1, to user 2, to user 3, to user 4, or every individual user. Facebook, for example, is a dynamic website. I log into my Facebook. Based on my login name and password, my wall will appear that will contain the data which of people who I follow. If any of you guys log into your website, each user is able to see different data on their wall. The Facebook is same, the website display is same, the theme, the content, the structure is same, but the data changes based on each individual user. Because which profiles, which pages you follow, based on that you get a different page. Then if you use Twitter, again every user gets a different Twitter feeds based on the people they follow. Or if you go on to email account, every user, every Gmail has the same structure. Basically, every Gmail or any mail you use has the same data structure format, same HTML, but the emails are different for every single user. That is called a dynamic website. That is called a website that makes the decision based on the user that which data to display to the user. Okay, this is called a client-server architecture. Based on client-server, that a client sends a request to the server. For example, when we log in, we enter our login username, we enter our password, we click on login. Once we click on login, that is basically sending a request to the server that I am a user, show me my data. Then once the user data is sent to the server verifies the data, processes the data based on my user ID and password, fetches the data from the database, that this particular user needs to see only this type of data, and then that data is encapsulated in HTML and sent back to the user. So PHP or server side also require HTML to generate the output. PHP primarily makes the decision. The data output again is done using HTML and CSS. That is why we will not ignore HTML, CSS, because even when we work with server-side languages like PHP, we still will be generating the output using HTML and CSS. PHP helps us to make the decision in what data to display to each user, what data to display, what data to get from the database, from file server, from mail servers, from any other servers, and finally bundle that data into HTML again, and that HTML is sent to the user, and user basically is seeing that data in their browser. So user sees again the HTML page. The decision that we see is made through PHP at the servers. So when you view Facebook, actually you're viewing simple HTML. As a user, you are only concerned that I'm getting HTML, CSS based design structures. At the back end, PHP is running, which is making the decision that what content to display to you. Okay, so this is what happens in PHP and in client server systems. We have talked about this in previous class, and almost in every single class we will be talking about the same concept, because this is exactly what we will be doing for future sessions. Hope it's clear. Now, let's begin. In order to work with PHP, we need first thing server. By server means we need to have a server which is able to run the PHP. Now, the one typical mechanism of obtaining a server is that we go online, we purchase a web hosting service that allows us to host a server, and then we create our website and PHP and test everything on the systems, which again is expensive, ridiculous, because we have not yet built a website. Then why should we go and purchase the server? So what we need is we need a local server, a server that I can run on my own machine, test the website, build the website, complete the website, then purchase a server and host that website on that server. Okay, so that is why we use a system called XAMPP. Okay, so even before XAMPP, if I explain, in order to run PHP, you will require to use php.org, I think website. If I go here, you would be required to download something called PHP. Google PHP. PHP download. If I come here, php.net, sorry. Okay, the website is php.net. If you come here, first thing is you do require to download the PHP software development kit, if we call it that. Okay, just like JDK, you need to have a Java development kit, JDK download for Java. C++, you need a Turbo C environment. ASP.NET, you need an ASP system to run that. Similarly, for PHP, you need PHP. However, for HTML, for CSS, for JavaScript, we didn't require anything. Okay, but for PHP, we need PHP development kit that hosts PHP libraries. Then, as I said, we need server. So what we do is we download something called Apache server. So if you search on Hazrat Google again for something called Apache server, so we have this Apache server website, and you can download the Apache server from here as well. Okay, this is the latest version. So then you need to install the PHP first, then download the Apache server and install it and configure it to run it. But this is a lot of hassle problem. I need to do two things at once. So instead of doing that, we can download something called XAMPP directly. For PHP, you require PHP libraries, you require a server. Minimum these two things to run, other than other things as well. You require these two minimum things to run. Okay, but there is something called XAMPP. What XAMPP is, this XAMPP has automatically incorporated your Apache server, automatically included MariaDB, your PHP, your Perl, and MySQL servers all bundled together in one single file. So once you click on download, it will download. Double click on it to install it, it will install it. Very simple installation, very simple to download, very small file size, not even big. What XAMPP allows us to do is it will host Apache, it will host PHP, it will host MySQL, and any other thing that is required all in one place. And it will configure it together as well. So there is no problem in configuring as well. Got it? So I highly recommend that you come onto this apachefriends.org and then come into download section. Under download XAMPP for Windows, you download the version. I have downloaded 7.2 version for myself as well. Once you download it, just double click on it to install it. Very simple installation, nothing to worry about it. Once you install it, you should be getting XAMPP control panel on your browser. Just click on the control panel, okay, from your start menu. Once you click on the control panel will be launched. Within the control panel, now you can see this, there are various different services that you can enable to use. First, we'll start the Apache server. Click on this and it should start the Apache server. And there we go. Okay. So now Apache server is started. The green bar indicates that the server is running. You get a PID and program identification number, I think, and then port number. This is the important one. Then we start the MySQL. You require that. You need to run the MySQL as well. It's a database that is used by PHP. Once these both are running, now it means that your system is running perfectly. If you have installed it to a particular location, you would find that, for example, I have installed this thing in E drive and under XAMPP folder. Okay, under XAMPP folder. So this file is there: XAMPP start, XAMPP stop, XAMPP control panel. Sometimes it is recommended that instead of going into control panel, you just double click on XAMPP start. Create a desktop shortcut for XAMPP start. Once you double click on it, it will automatically start. It will automatically install the control panel along with Apache, MySQL, and all the necessary services. So instead of starting the control panel manually, you can simply click on this thing, XAMPP start. It will automatically start the control panel and all the required services. You can just simply click on the desktop shortcut for that. Hopefully it's clear. I sometimes have it available with the control panel and I can use it as I like. Okay, and let's just drag and drop it here. In fact, sometimes what we do is we drag the start here as well. And then I think if we create the shortcut and we create a shortcut here as well, then it is that in order to stop this XAMPP server, you just double click on the XAMPP stop. What this will do, it will stop the server. Once it is started, now it means that your system is behaving like a server. Once you start server, means your system is also a server. And when you start a browser, now this browser behaves like your, what we call, if I close all these windows now, your browser now behaves like your client, and this is the server. So we are running the server and the client both on same PC. Typically, this is on server on a server machine. So when you click on Facebook, you access the Facebook server somewhere else in America, and that data is fetched from there. However, now we've installed the server on our own local machine. So it doesn't matter if you have internet or not. You can even disconnect and you can use PHP. So that's why it's more fun to use using the XAMPP server within. So you don't require to buy the server, use it locally. So once we have downloaded and installed the local server, how do we access it? So we come on to the new tab. Here we type simply localhost. The local server on your system, doesn't matter which server you're using, whether you're using Apache, XAMPP or WAMP or any other server for that matter, they are always known as a local host. You remember that. Hope आपको already चीज पता होगी. Other than that, you just simply come onto the browser and type localhost. If you type localhost and you see an Apache Friends XAMPP web page, that means basically your server is running fine. Okay, that means your XAMPP is running fine and all the things are running okay. Localhost is the URL. Behind this URL, we know that there is an IP address, and for the IP address of your localhost, it's always 127.0.0.1. Okay, so whenever we type 127.0.0.1, basically we are accessing our local host. The same page appears. Okay, so this is the first thing that we try to do. Install the XAMPP server, start the XAMPP servers, come into your browser, type in localhost or 127.0.1 and you will be directed to your page. This is how we understand that what we are basically our server is running and everything is cool and okay. Okay, is it clear up till now? Then let's go and run the first program. So in order to run the first program of PHP, we come onto our browser, our window, and where did I go? Okay, and now what we do is we try to compile and run our first program based on, sorry, okay. So let's just come here on our window and let me type something called HTML, and let me close HTML. Okay. Now this is a typical HTML code that we write. However, in order to write pure PHP code, we can write a pure PHP code as well. But for now, let me just write or embed it inside here. And then we can discuss later on how we do that various different ways. Body and backslash body. Okay. Control, or we come here. Now, this is my simple pure HTML. Within this HTML, what I do is I write something called my PHP. Now, for CSS, we use the style tag. For JavaScript, we use something called script tag. For HTML, for PHP, we use something called PHP. PHP. Okay, block start, and then question mark block close. This is a typical structure of a PHP tag. Whenever we need to write PHP code, this is what we need to put inside our file. Okay. Then we write something called echo, echo hello PHP. Echo is same as print. Echo is same as system.out.println in JavaScript. Echo is same as document.write using in JavaScript. Sorry, system.out.println in Java and document.write in JavaScript. Okay. So in PHP, in order to print anything on our output window, we use something called echo. We use a bracket start tag, question mark, PHP. This is a specific type of tag which tells the system that now we are actually using something called PHP. Then question mark and close. The structure is completely different from other tags. Once you do that, now it knows that this is PHP. We control S it and we save it. But we save it on our browser server's location. So we go on to our server. अच्छा चलें फिर HP docs के अंदर एक चले जाते हैं. अच्छा ठीक है, चलें यहाँ पर आके एक फोल्डर बना देता हूँ मैं PHP class. Okay, and इसके अंदर हम फाइल नेम रख लेते हैं first first.php. I was talking that once we save it, okay, we save it inside our XAMPP folder, and just remember that once you, wherever you save it, your XAMPP server will be updating and changing the files continuously. So do make sure that you don't save it in your program files folder, because then you will have to give writes every single time. It creates problem. Either we save it in C drive or say create your XAMPP folder. Once you install it, give it some other drive as well. Then within your XAMPP folder, there is something called htdocs. This is a default folder location that every time we access 127.0.1, it will automatically go inside this htdocs folder and it will load this index file. This is the files that we basically see, in other words, in like this dashboard file. Okay, obviously we can change that as well. Sometimes we save it on the main root, but then we need to go into PHP ini file and just change the still configuration. And we will talk about that later on if you don't want to save it in this htroot folder. But most of the occasions we basically save it here for test purpose. Within this HP roots, we created a folder called PHP class. I always recommend do create a folder. Don't save the files directly here, okay? Because there are other files as well, and sometimes just messes up things and confuses lots of things. So we create our own folder, PHP class, and we save the file inside it, for example, called first.php. Now, first.php basically is the extension of my PHP file, even though this contains HTML code. Okay. Save as. So this first file is now basically my PHP file. We can save it as an HTML file, but because now we are working with PHP code, it is always recommended that for PHP code file, use first or whatever the file name is .php. This way you would be able to know that this is a file that will be PHP. Then now what happens that there is no output, nothing else except only PHP output. Okay. So if I have this PHP, I save this file. Again, this file is saved inside my PHP folder inside your XAMPP. So wherever you installed your server, wherever you install your server, on your server, oops, on your server, there is a folder htdocs. Save your files inside your htdocs. Then you would be able to access it. You can save it directly inside htdocs, or it is recommended that you create a folder and then save files inside, because you would be working on multiple projects, multiple files. Okay. So in this case, I just named it first for now because we will talk about this later. Now to run this file, you go back to the browser, and if I hide my panel, right? Okay. So now once I type again 127.0.1, it will show me my dashboard. Even if I go into localhost, press enter, again same thing. So how do we access our web page now? So what we do is, in order to access your web page, you type localhost / the folder name that you keep. For example, PHP CLASS class / now your PHP file name. Okay, press enter, and then you will see the output on your browser. Now what we did here is, because we saved the file inside a folder called PHP class, that is why we need to give localhost is something that will be used for every project that you create. For every project that you will create, will have a localhost. Then once you upload the data on your server, you upload the files inside your folder, and then the initial instead of localhost, your domain name will come. Okay. So it's a simple thing. We will do that as later on. So for now, you just have to keep in mind that localhost refers to your HT document folder. Inside this document folder, we have created another folder. To access the content of that folder, for example, first we write first.php, the extension, because it might be php.html, first.html, or any other file for that matter. So because we created a PHP file, we wrote PHP. Now, once you write a PHP file, what happened here is that a request from your browser was sent to the server. In this case, XAMPP Apache server that we have installed. Okay. So from a browser to an Apache localhost server, a request was sent that there is a file on a server called first.php. We need to execute that. So the server will open this file up, read the content based on PHP, and then create an HTML based output and send it to your browser. The browser is displaying HTML, not PHP. But PHP decides what to get printed. So even though we have used PHP here, remember your browser is displaying HTML. Okay? Because browser directly interprets HTML all the time. So even on our systems, we have created a server that is known as a local host or local server. Browser is our client. When we enter the address here, we send the request to the server. Server processed it and then send the output back to the client. That's the output we see on our windows here. Now, whatever code we perform here, basically we are able to use within our windows.